What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video I want to talk about Horizon Zero Dawn 2. I want to talk about if this game is going to be a launch day game for the PS5. Now, I've talked a little bit about what I think the launch lineup kind of looks like for the PlayStation 5 and really next generation consoles in general, and I feel like that's really going to be a fun and very numerous conversation that's going to happen as we get closer and closer next fall. I feel like so many people are going to be talking about it, and really the picture is going to start to be filled as we move more and more towards the next generation. What is the launch games going to look like? You know, is it good? I feel like it has to be much more improved than last generation, and some of that stuff we're going to talk about in this video. And this video also kind of doubles down, and we're going to talk a little bit about Killzone 5. Now, we talked about that a few weeks ago on the channel, where I didn't even know up until, researching for that video that Killzone 5 definitely seems to totally be a thing that Guerrilla Games is doing. So the question then would be, are they having two studios to then make Killzone and Horizon, and is that the case with Horizon Zero Dawn 2 is first and then Killzone 5 is after? And I believe it is. When you look at all these Sony first-party studios, they all kind of work like that. They all, you have that big game coming out, like in the moment, that's where all the eyes are on, but then they have something, being cooked on in the back, that they're working on secretly, and then that becomes the project afterward. You have even a studio like Naughty Dog that does that very often, that they're constantly doing that, and it makes sense that a big studio like Guerrilla, with such a success of Horizon, and then Killzone, which is a pretty big franchise, at least in terms of that people know about it, right? And, and I think especially if Killzone 5 starts to become more mainstream and that people know that game is being worked on, I guess that would make people maybe a little bit worried about Horizon Zero Dawn 2. But at this point, we pretty much have confirmation that game is real. I mean, they have not come out and said we are for sure making it, but you look at the success firstly, and this isn't even the thing that really makes me know that we are getting it. You look at the success that the first game had, and you look at basically everything that they built. They completely built a new game, and that takes guts. When you're a studio that is known for Killzone like they are, or you're known for one thing, and then they go out and they completely change it. An open world, an RPG kind of game, a game that they had to hire, a lot of people that worked on the Fallout games. They hired those kind of multiple, the branching conversations. They hired a lot of writers, because a lot of people that they had for Killzone, they couldn't do that. So they had to hire completely new people, go out and pluck them out of the gaming industry. And that's, it's a new studio basically. And it also is something we talked about when we talked about Killzone 5 on this channel, is that if they are making Killzone, that's a whole different people. The people that write the stories for Horizon, you can't necessarily expect them to do Killzone, and Killzone has multiplayer, and people may not be able to do that. You need people with those sets of skills. So you build and you bring in everybody that they did for Horizon, and then it does insane. It really jumped out there and was a phenomenal first game and a fantastic building block. And you don't let that go. You don't let the character go. You don't let the what you built, with the technology and just everything that game started to build. And there's been games even this year, Days Gone. It was a game of building, right? It wasn't a perfect game. It may, to a lot of people, maybe it wasn't even a great game, but it was building something. And then you have Sony Ben go out and just completely make a brand new game afterwards. Or do you say, okay, well, you have a lot of the building blocks in place. Let's listen to what fans are saying, and let's really make a fantastic Days Gone 2. I feel like it's firstly just easier to do that, and as long as there's the motivation to make a Days Gone 2, it's going to happen. So when it comes to Horizon Zero Dawn 2, you not only have that, but you also have the success. Horizon did insanely well and sold millions and millions of copies. One of the best, new IPs for Sony in terms of sales. So you don't let something like that go, especially when the first game, if you're building off of it, it was one of the stronger first games in any of their, franchises. It's hard to compare it to an Uncharted or even The Last of Us or God of War or Infamous. They're all very, very different games, that's for sure. Or even Killzone, if you want to go back multiple decades. You can't really compare it, but at the same time, if you look at where those games started and what they became, they all got better, okay? They all really took some big steps, especially from the first to second. God of War, Uncharted, Infamous, you assume The Last of Us. So all of these games really, really jumped up after that, from the first to second game. So you don't just leave that behind, and you also have the fact that what an actress that's working on the game even said back a couple months ago, that they were basically that they're making it, and it's already in development, and it's going to blow everything that we think about it out of the water. So that's going to be really, really good. So with that is basic confirmation. Now the biggest question is this, and I've always said this, and I'm really going to firstly double down right now, and I'm also going to be doubling down in the future as we can, as the months go on leading to the PS5. I think of any game, you tell me any game, you can list them off in the comments. I think Horizon Zero Dawn is the day one exclusive, not just exclusive, but a day one game for the PS5. Now, this console generation, this upcoming one, is going to be much different. I truly feel that. While the consoles maybe won't make the biggest jump in the world as this last generation did, and even the generation before it, even this past generation didn't make the biggest jump in the world. So, while there'll be talk of, are the consoles, are they justifiable in buying them, spending another $400 or $500, how much of an improvement there are, one of the things I think needs massive improvement, and I truly believe there's been a lot of life lessons learned and that we are going to get it, is the launch lineup in general. This last console generation was supposed to be different from the PS3 and Xbox 360, which didn't have a very good launch lineup. I mean, it had some things, but it wasn't looked at as like, wow, there's like 1,000 reasons to get it. Besides the fact, I think the biggest thing with that generation was just all the changes in terms of the specs and just how big of a jump it was from the one before. I think that was the big selling point, not so much on games. And then we did get games, that's for sure. But from the PS3 to PS4 or Xbox 360, Xbox One, the launch lineup was very, very weak. There was next to nothing. And then if you look at exclusives, and because we're talking about Horizon, we're talking about PlayStation exclusives here, so let's talk about the PS4. There was next to nothing. Now, I'm one of the biggest supporters of Resogun, I think you'll find on the face of the planet. I love that game to death. I think that's one of the best PlayStation exclusives ever made. I love that game. I platinumed that game twice. I think that's such a great game. But does that sell consoles? Absolutely not. That is a fun little game that I'm so glad exists. I'm so glad it was there day one. It showed like that particle effects, right? The explosions, all those blocks. It did that fine. That's great. But besides that, and I mean, I played that game. I played that game a lot. That game actually did take a lot of my time. Battlefield came out. We had Killzone Shadowfall, and Killzone was a solid game. It's my favorite Killzone game, but I really didn't play it all that much. It was more of just a eye candy. It looked really good. It was a way of showing what the technology could do. It used the touchpad. It used the in-controller speaker to talk to us. So it did a lot of those technological things. But the game itself, solid, but not like the greatest game in the world. Like I said, like third-party games we got, Battlefield a couple months, or like a month after, a couple weeks after. So we had that, but when it came to exclusive, and we had Contrast, which was, I think, a free game on PlayStation Plus. So that is not, glamorous at all. And what I think they're really going to be working towards this time is they need to fix that. So while, again, I've talked about Assassin's Creed. Is Assassin's Creed, are they going to try and work out a thing where maybe you're going to be able to play the next Assassin's Creed game, the next Call of Duty game? Are you going to be able to play those games day one on the next generation consoles? The next Battlefield 6 or 2 or whichever numbering system they're going to go with. Are we going to get these games? Are the systems going to come out after them, and so that by default we then get to play them day one and we can buy them on for the PS5, not buy it on PS4? And I mean, you could buy it on PS4, play it, and then also, because of backwards compatibility, play it on PS5. I think that makes the most sense. That's just all about when it comes out. Will it come out after Assassin's Creed? Will it come out after Call of Duty? After Battlefield? When will it come out? Then you can start talking about those kind of things. But either way, you need a reason for people to buy this console. And to be honest, and I've said it for a while, exclusives really are that reason. There's not going to be all that much that separates these two consoles. I mean, one may do something, Xbox, maybe the lighting is better, the lighting technology, but maybe the overall graphics graphics are better on PlayStation. It does, I mean, at the end of the day, it's what you do with the games. I think one console can still be more powerful than the other, and one of them can still have a better looking game. It's just how that company, how that game developer that they have working for them, how far they can push it. And if they're pushing it harder on Xbox or if they're pushing it harder on PlayStation. That's really what it comes down to. What ends up selling these things, in my opinion, are those exclusive games. It's the reason why I chose PlayStation back for PS3. It's the reason I've stuck with them, and I think I will obviously be sticking with them through the PS5. I care about their exclusives. I really, really love their exclusives, but they need them. We need Horizon, and I think Horizon Zero Dawn 2, of Spider-Man, of God of War, those are like the three. Those are the only three games I think are even going to be close to being ready to come out when the next generation hits us. You know, I think Horizon Zero Dawn 2 is the closest. Spider-Man, it hasn't been as long, and God of War, it hasn't been as long. Horizon's had the most time. It'll be, you know, at this point, it's already been 2+ years. It came out in February of 2017. So by the time next generation consoles comes out, it'll be almost 4 years. It'll be like 3 3/4 since Horizon. I think that's plenty of time. I think that they already have the system they talked about when Horizon came out, that they're going to be using the same system. They'll make tweaks and stuff, but it's going to be the same engine. It'll be the same engine that made Horizon that's going to be for their next game. So I think of any game, that would be the game that you need to launch it. I think that would really help. I think that would really sell PlayStation 5s. I think that would do a, you know, I think that, and just imagine buying the PS5 and that's the game. You get to play that game day one. What a change from the PS4 when you bought it and you could play Resogun. And again, I'm not knocking Resogun, but such a big difference. So I think it's going to happen. You can, you know, put my money down right now. I believe Horizon Zero Dawn 2 is going to be a launch day. When you get the PS5, there'll be bundles with it. You could buy it separately, but that'll be ready to go day one for the PlayStation 5. If that doesn't happen, I feel like Sony has some things to worry about, but I'm going to put my money down on that. But guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think? Do you think Horizon Zero Dawn 2 is a launch day game for the PS5 or not? And if not, when do you think it would come out? Let me know. Make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel, Podcast Now, and hit that bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. And thank you, as always, for watching. I hope to see you on the next video.